Hi everyone, it's Sue. Welcome back. So today I'm excited to share with you my part in the April Alchemy Challenge that has been put together with Melanie from the Treasured Page, Brygida from Clear Black Creations, and myself. So Melanie was the brainchild to this collaboration. Thanks, Mel. And it's all about having fun with natural items like roots and leaves and plants, things that you have at home, things in your pantry. Which leads me today to what I'm going to be using, which I'll share with you in a second. So head on over and check out the other ladies' channels and their Instagrams. I'll put all the links down below for you as well, or you can just screenshot here. But yes, I just wanted to share that with you. So also Brygida has kindly done up a free digital paper with some little bits of fussy cut elements that we can use in our projects. So you can head over to my Ko-fi coffee page. I'll have the link for that down below as well. And if you want to follow me there, hopefully I will have some new updates happening in the coming weeks, and I'll get better with that as well. So as I said, head on over there and you can print this out for free. So that is available to you guys to use. Isn't it stunning? Okay, so we'll get that out of the way. All right, so you're probably thinking, okay, well, it's a coffee and tea mix. Nothing new. No, maybe not. I've tried eco dyeing, and myself and eco dyeing just don't, I don't know, I just can never get it to work. And to be quite honest with you, I would rather pay someone else and buy their papers who have success with them, and then I can concentrate on things that I enjoy doing. I just don't enjoy that process, to be quite honest with you. Coffee dyeing, that's a whole nother story. So I'm going to give a secret away today. So in my baking tray, I use the same baking tray for my my coffee bath all the time. So it never really gets, unless Jim makes the coffee, I was going to say, it never really gets cleaned out, because I like how it sort of keeps all the little bits and pieces from before, you know, like the coffee that gets stuck to the pan and that sort of thing. Jim always gives a big scrub out, so I'm always starting from scratch. So but I thought I'd share with you today my mix that I use. So what I use is 8 red tea bags. So Rooibos tea, which is a red tea. So I use 8 of those. 3 heaped dessert spoons of coffee. This is what I'm using at the moment. It was just the best value at our grocery store at the time. I had been using our good Moccona coffee only because I kept forgetting to get a cheaper coffee. So you can use any coffee you like. So 8 red tea bags, 3 heaped dessert spoons of coffee. My kettle takes 1.7 litres of water. So I fill that up and boil that. And then I add 1 cup of cold water as well, just so that I can use it pretty much straight away. This has been brewing for about an hour now. I normally try and let it brew for about an hour, and then it cools down to at least like a tepid temperature, so I can stick my finger in there without burning my finger. And yeah, we can start from there. So I'll just go through that again. 8 red tea bags, 3 heaped dessert spoons of coffee, and essentially 2 litres of water. And I use this, I just coffee dye until all this is soaked up. Okay, so I won't be using all of it today, but I don't want to sort of waste anything. So I'm just going to do the video, and then I'll head off and make some more papers and that. So I'm just going to use gloves. Just my fingers are really dry. My hands are really dry, and all the coffee and tea solution gets into all the cracks, and it looks like I haven't washed my hands for months. So alrighty, so what I normally do is I normally squeeze out, once this has been brewing for about an hour, and it's cooled down enough. It's still warm. I just find when it's warm, it takes to the paper takes it much better. And I'm just going to pop them, I'm actually going to pop them in my bin. I have just emptied my bin, so I may come back and pull them out. We'll just see, and use some of the tea leaves, but we'll just see. Okay, so I'm going to pop this to the side, and I'll just explain what I've got underneath here. Also, what I'm going to be playing with is just something that I've got in my pantry. And this is ground cinnamon, ground nutmeg, and ground ginger. I don't know whether any of these colours, whether this is going to make colour or what it's actually going to do. As I said, I've tried eco dyeing. I'm not very good with that. Brygida did leaves and rose, what do you call them, rose petals, and I think it was turmeric, that turmeric root that she used, and she got some beautiful results. And Mel used beetroot and boiled that up, and I loved the colours that came out from that. So I'm heading towards more of a grungy, I'm hoping for more of a grungy vintage sort of look, which is what I like to do. So I've just pulled these from my pantry, so we'll be experimenting with those as well. So I have these trays are what I use for my coffee dyeing. I just find these easier to use. And I've got several here stacked on top of one another. So for today's experiment, I think I'm just going to do 2 sheets of A4. So it takes 2 sheets of A4 paper nicely here, just to sort of get a bit of a feel for what works well, what doesn't, and then we can go back in and I can make more. I will be doing a project with my papers, and I've also got some 100% cotton fabric to the side of me here that I'll be experimenting with as well. So I do plan on making something with these papers and fabric that I dye here. If they work, I may even come back, not necessarily on camera, but I may even come back and stack some on top of one another and see what effect we get. So when I use these trays, I've just got a felt backed, well, it's not even a felt backed, it's just like it's sort of a flocked tablecloth. It's a huge big thing, and I just cut it down because I was finding when I was doing envelopes and everything, the gum from the envelopes was sticking to the trays, which then the papers would stick to. So this way I find that that doesn't happen, and they just peel off so much better. These are stained as well, but I like the effect that you get on the underneath of your papers. So you'll get like a grid look with bits of grungy coffee on the underneath as well. I'm not sure whether I've said as well, once we get going with this, at the end of the video, I'm going to do a giveaway with a pack of my dyed papers that you can win. So I will just have a question that you'll need to answer to go into the draw to win that. So let's get started. I've talked enough. So all I do basically is I just dip, and I have a station where I normally do this. I don't normally do this at my desk, but for the sake of the video, I'm doing it at my desk. So I am just dipping the paper so you can see it's changed. That's what it looks like. So obviously if you want darker paper, you can leave your paper sit in there for longer, or you can add more coffee. This is just a mix that after a lot of experimenting, I've come to love. I still, every now and again, I play and mix things up a bit, but I always come back to this mix. I don't know why. I just do. All right. So I'm just going to lay them down, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab one of my tea bags, and you can have a sponge. I normally do have a sponge, but it was pretty yucky, so I threw it out. And I'm just dipping my tea bag back into the coffee solution, and I'm just going to squash it over just to give a few darker spots. So I'm not going for perfection here, and this is all about experimenting. Okay, so what I thought I'd do with the first one is, and I probably should have opened this first, I'm just going to tip some of these coffee grounds, and you can see how they're reacting with the liquid. I'm just going to put a few coffee grounds over the papers and just see. I don't know, that might be too much. As I said, it's an experiment. I haven't done this before, so we'll see what happens. And then I'm going to just spray, see how some of these haven't really hit the pools of coffee. I'm just going to spray them with a bit of water just to sort of add a little bit more moisture. And we're going to put that aside to dry. So what I've done is I have pre-written up some post-it notes of what these are, just in case I forget, particularly more so for the spices. And I'm just going to put them on the tray, and I'm just going to go and put these to this one to the side so it can dry. Okay, so the next one we will dip some more paper, and I've got ground cinnamon. I'm going to use some ground cinnamon. The paper's all curled up here now. And I don't even really worry about letting the coffee drip off too much. It's got excess, so the paper I put on top of that will soak all that up. Okay. So same thing, I might add a little bit more, just a few spots of extra liquid squashed from the tea bag. And I'll just, actually, I don't know whether these have been opened, no. This is the thing, I buy spices and they sit in my pantry and I don't use them. So this is probably a good way to use up maybe out of date spices as well. Experiment with your papers. Okay, let's get into this. Okay, I'm just going to sprinkle it on, I think. I don't know how this is going to react. See, it might even be better off just going onto where there's less liquid. I don't know. It smells good. So this these trays to start with are just to try and get an idea of what each spice looks like once it's dried. And obviously when this does dry, I can just wipe off, like brush off the spices. It shouldn't clump, I wouldn't think, on the paper, but who knows. Okay, so I probably didn't need to add any extra liquid to that. But let's just leave it at that, and I'll put my little post-it notes so that I know what's what. And we'll move on to the next. So these are just little bits of paper from some doilies that I've just recently dyed. And I tend to not even worry about that because it all just leaves different texture on the papers that you're coffee dyeing. Alrighty, so next one we're going to do is ground nutmeg. So this one I'm not going to add any extra coffee mix. I've obviously used this one before. So I'm just going to put it directly onto the coffee paper that I've dipped in the bath here, and just we'll see without any extra. I tell you what, it's smelling nice in here. If it doesn't work out, at least it's going to smell nice. All right. It's making me hungry. Okay, we will just move this and put the post-it note. Oh gee, that smells good. And that one I'm not going to spray with extra liquid. I think I said that. I think we might just leave it on there and just see what it does. All right. Okay, and the next one is ground ginger. Now, I don't know whether this is going to do anything at all, but I had it in the cupboard and I thought I'm going to grab it out and give it a go. And the same thing, I'm just going to, if I can get into it, I'm just going to tip it onto, just very light. It's probably not going to do a lot at all. Okay. So that's the ground ginger. So the next one that I thought I would do is I would incorporate all of them and see see what we come up with. Okay, so this is all the 4 of them that we're going to put on here now. I don't know. I'm just going to sprinkle and hope for the best. I am going to spray those coffee granules that haven't really touched any liquid, and then I'm just going to add the spices again in order of what we've just done. So I'm just going to add, you know, close to where the coffee is, maybe a little bit over here. And I may be being too heavy-handed. I may not need to add as much. So once these dry, this will actually tell me whether I need to add more or whether I need to add less. So that's nutmeg, and then I'll just add some ginger. And that's with all 4 of them, so that'll be interesting to see how that comes out. So the next thing that I'm going to experiment with is the fabric. So I've got this, I've just roughly torn it, and I tore it so that it fits on here. And what I thought I might do is I'm just going to dip this into the coffee dye solution. I've got 2 pieces here, so while I'm talking I might just dip that first one in. And it takes the coffee really well. So I'm just going to lay it out flat, and then I think I'm going to, for the first one, is just add the coffee granules and spray them with some water. I think I'm going to like that look, I think, just from how it's reacting with the water. I'm hoping I'm hoping that it turns out. And then the second piece of fabric, I'll use all 4, and we'll see how that goes. Okay, so I'm just going to do the same thing. So I'm just dipping it in the coffee bath here, and I'm just going to wring it out. Still leaving some liquid in there, so obviously this is going to take longer to dry than the paper, and I love how it's all wrinkly from wringing it out, so that'll all add to the look of it as well. And it's going to pick up the build-up of coffee on this tablecloth here too. So I'm going to sprinkle, I'm nearly out of coffee actually, I'm going to sprinkle some granules randomly over the fabric, and we're just going to do coffee grounds first, and then we'll spray it with some water. You can see it's already reacting. And I think what I'll do, I'm probably doing overkill here. I've just got my tea bag, red tea bag here. I'm just going to drop some of it randomly. I don't know just whether it'll make it a bit darker or not. We'll just see. Okay, so I'm going to pop that aside to dry as well. And then we've got one more piece of fabric. Once again, I'm just dipping the fabric into the coffee bath here. Wring that out. And I think what I want to do with this one actually is leave it a little bit, maybe just, I might actually add all 4, but I'm going to leave it a little bit like that, just to see, you know, because it'll all the coffee and the spices and that will fall into creases differently. So I've got lots of coffee on there. Love the coffee. I'm just going to add a little bit more liquid to those grounds. You can see how it's all reacting. I love that look already. I've got coffee grounds here, so, oops, sprayed the wrong way. And then I'm just going to sprinkle some cinnamon. Oh, lots of cinnamon. And I don't mind if this turns out to be really, really grungy. Cinnamon, nutmeg, and then ginger. It's like a bakery in here. And then I'm just going to spray it again, or I might even just, get the tea bag and squash it out over the top. All right, guys, I'm going to put that aside as well, and I'll be back when all the paper and all the fabric is dry. So I'm going to have to wait a couple of days now and just see how they turn out. So hopefully it's not a wasted experiment, and something fun comes of it. So I'll be back when it's dry. Okay, so we're back. It's all dry, and I actually have to say that I think it's been a disaster. But that's what it's all about. It's an experiment, isn't it? This one's not too bad. So this is all 4 of the pieces. So basically it's added more grunge to the paper, and the coffee's gone quite crusty where I've added extra liquid. So I don't think I needed to spray the coffee grounds. But the nutmeg and the cinnamon, I don't really think it's done much at all. It may have added a bit more to the coffee, but it's really just worked as a resist. So I'm just using a soft brush here, and I'm going to use my finger. So this is, that's nutmeg. It smells good. Smells really good. So just a very grungy piece of coffee dyed paper. I will get the excess of that. And you can see here where it's just acted as a resist, really. I think the thing that it's achieved is to make it smell really good. That's about it. So that's that one. And that's the next one. So this one is just the ground ginger. And as I said, I think it's just acted as a resist, really. So you can see where it's been sitting, but it hasn't actually dyed the paper. It's just resisted any of the coffee. Ground nutmeg, and it's the same. It's just acted as a resist as well. I mean, it's disappointing in the sense that it hasn't left any colour, but I mean, I'm happy with the paper. Like, I'll definitely be able to use the paper. And as I said, it smells really good. So yeah, I don't know. It's an experiment. The whole alchemy, April alchemy, is an experiment. So I say I feel like it failed, but I mean, I've learned something. So that's the ground nutmeg. Oh, the ground cinnamon, I think maybe has done something. So you can see little bits of where the ground cinnamon was sitting, but it's only very lightly changed the colour. Nothing of any great, like, you can't notice it greatly. So I don't know, it's much the same. And once again, it smells really, really, really yummy. But I think the ground cinnamon has discoloured, has helped. So if you have a look at, so I dipped all with the same coffee solution. And you have a look at, so this one's the ground cinnamon and this is the ground nutmeg. So there's definitely a difference. So there is a very slight difference. So that one was okay. What have we got under here? Oh, and this was the ground coffee. So this is where I just sprinkled the coffee grounds on there and then I sprayed them with water, but I think I added too much water. So I will sort of scrape away a little bit of this coffee. Once again, it's very grungy, so it's something that I will definitely use in my grunge journal. I will actually dig that out and show you. So I mean, it didn't turn out how I thought it was going to turn out, but it's still usable. It's still usable. I'm thinking, see, even the back's really nice. I'm thinking that I may even just try dipping some paper in the coffee solution and then just sprinkling some of the granules on top of the coffee again and not spraying them, and just see how that turns out. So I might just keep this tray here because I might do that, and then we'll see how that comes out. And then I thought I might even do another tray where I don't dye the paper first. I'll just spritz it with water and then add some granules and then the spices and see what happens with that. Okay, So this is a fabric. Now this is a lot of fun. I might have to go and shake this outside, but if you remember, I dyed some fabric and scrunched it up. And then off camera, I just dyed another piece of fabric just to show you the difference. So this is just coffee dyed, and then I just scrunched it up on the tray and left it to dry. So you can see there's a huge difference in this. There's going to be all different colors. So I think all the spices have worked better on the fabric. From what I can see, seems to have worked much better on the fabric. So what I might do is I might just go and shake this outside and come back and show you that. Okay, so this is the fabric and what it looks like now that I've shaken it off, and oh, there's still a little bit more there. And I'm really happy with it. I love how that looks. So you can see where it's all been crumpled. So where it was exposed to air, it's dried darker. But I love how that has turned out. So, and that's just coffee dyeing there. So you can see that the spices and the coffee, extra coffee, has made a big difference to the look of that fabric. And then this is the other side. I don't even mind the reverse side of that. Okay, so the other fabric I'm going to get, which I'm really happy with, so I'll just grab that. And this is a fabric where I just put the coffee grounds on and then spritzed it a bit with water, and I love this look. I love it. Absolutely love it. I'm really happy with this. And this, I think, this piece I might use in what I'm going to make with these experiments that I've done here. So even the back is really nice. So I'm really happy with that and how that's turned out. So very grungy, and some of the excess coffee, like the bits that are like the big bits that are sticking up, I will actually scratch them off. So I love that. So I'm pretty impressed with the way that the fabric's turned out, more so than the paper. So I guess, you know, it hasn't been a wasted experiment. And as I said, I was all down in the mouth about it, and I thought, you know what, at least if it shows someone something that I mean, I don't know, am I doing something wrong? Are they spices that normally dye? I don't know. If anyone has used them before and have had success with them, let me know. I might be doing something wrong, but otherwise, I guess it saves you going through that experiment and getting the same results. But that's a fabric. So I think what I might do is I might just get the coffee solution and then do what I said. I might just dip some paper and just add the coffee grounds on without spritzing it. I may even do a few layers. So dip the paper, put some coffee grounds on, dip the paper and put another layer on and just see what happens. I don't know. It's only paper. If it doesn't work out and needs to be thrown out, it's fine. So I might just do that. And I'll just speed the video up while I do that, and then I'll be back when that's all dry. Okay, so I'm going to use the same solution. Now, I just need to say that it may be a bit darker because it's the next day and the solution's been sitting overnight. It just gets a bit richer. I don't know if that makes sense, but the colour is definitely darker, but it is the same solution. And I always put a little bit of rubbing alcohol in my mix just to save it. So sometimes I don't get to finish a whole coffee bath at once, so I like to add some alcohol just so that it doesn't go moldy. But if it sits for more than 2 days, I don't use it. It very rarely does that. I normally just tip it out otherwise, which I know is a waste, but I would rather do that than have mold growing on the papers. So what I'm going to do with this lot here is I only have this many coffee granules left, so I'm just going to sprinkle. I'm not going to spray these this time, and I'm probably not going to use as many as I did last time. So let's put a few on, and then I think what I'll do is I'll just dip a few more papers and just add it to the top. So just layer it over top. Okay, so I've got 4 layers of paper there, I think, about 4 or 5 layers of paper. I'm going to just put that aside and let it to dry, leave it to dry. And then I'm just thought I might put some white paper down, spritz it with some water, and then add the few coffee granules that I've got left just to that and see what happens. Okay, so we're back here with another day. If you've stuck with me so far, congratulations, you've done well. So this is the papers that I just tried, and I layered one on top of the other and just sprinkled coffee grounds on top and then layered them. So this is the absolute top. Obviously the paper or fabric, whatever it is that you use that is on top and is exposed to air is going to be darker, so which is what we have here. I don't know, they're still interesting. As you know, I've ditched these spices because they didn't work. I just wanted to try this and see how they turned out. So it's just something different, some different effects there. And this is the other lot that I did. Okay, so that's those. Let me just have a look here. So this is the ones where I just used the white, just the plain coffee paper, and I sprayed them and put the grounds down and then added a little bit more liquid on top. So nothing to write home about there. And just another lot. This one's, I like this. Oh no, actually this lot I added some more liquid from the tea bag, that's right. But I think I like this one better, where I've just sprayed it and left it. So that's that one. This is, you know, I can't even remember. What did I do with this one? I can't even remember what I do with this one, to be honest, but obviously I've just layered. Oh, that's right, I did white coffee grinds, and then I dipped the paper and then just laid it on top of this one just to see what would happen. And that's what happened. So worth the experiment, I guess, in the sense that if anyone's thinking of using those spices, I couldn't make them work. I don't know that they've got enough color in them that they will work unless you add some sort of something to promote the color. I'm not sure, but as I said, if anyone's got any information on those spices and they've tried to use them before and have had success, please let me know, because I'd love to know. But it's forced me to just try a few different ways with coffee as well, other than my normal way, which I normally do. I'm just going to pop these trays away. I'm going to show you my grunge journal, which probably a lot of these papers will be used in, and then I'm going to probably end this video here. So that's my experiment for alchemy, April Alchemy 2023 or 23. So as I said, head on over and check out the other ladies' videos if you haven't already done so. Just going to ditch these trays. Yeah, so these are all the papers that we did. And if nothing else, they smell delicious. So very grungy, but smell absolutely delicious. So as I said, it was a little bit of a disaster, a little bit of a failure, but we don't know unless we try, do we? Head on over and check out the other ladies' videos. They've had some great success, which is really good. And Mel has put a video up last Saturday. So Mel's done 2 and Brygida's done 1, and then this is mine for the challenge. So thanks for watching, and I just wanted to quickly just show you this grunge journal that I've started on a while ago, and I haven't finished it. I've sort of just put some papers, but as you can see, these papers here are going to go much nicer with the theme than some of these lighter ones that I've got here. So I will come back to that, and I'll probably use my papers in there, but I am going to use my papers and my fabric, which I'll just grab. So remember, these are my fabrics, which I quite loved how these turned out. So you could use either side of those. So that was all 4. So that was the ground cinnamon, ground nutmeg, ground ginger, and the coffee. And then this is just the coffee grounds. So I think I'm going to go and use this piece in a project in the next video, because otherwise this video is going to be way too long. So I hope you enjoyed that. I hope I didn't bore you too much. And we had a little bit of fun along the way. We learned some new things together. So thanks so much for joining me. Thanks for watching the other ladies' videos. If you haven't already done so, please subscribe if you liked this video. Thank you to everyone that already has. And I will see you in the next video when I make something using this fabric and some of the papers. Okay guys, take care, and until next time, I hope you get a little bit of creative time in. See you soon. Bye-bye.